the myth of Saturn and the Golden Age. Visualize a world where corruption does not exist, where peace and abundance reign and humanity lives in perfect harmony with nature. This was the Golden Age, the mythical perfect time that flourished under the reign of the god Saturn in Roman mythology. This video is an invitation to discover the myth of Saturn, a figure who embodies both creative and destructive power, the time that gives and also takes away. Our tour today will investigate who Saturn was, how his reign gave rise to this lost utopia, and what lessons we can draw from his story. Is it possible that the Golden Age is more than a myth? Could it be an inspiration for building a better future? Join us as we explore this fascinating cultural narrative. Saturn, in Roman mythology, is the god of time and harvest, one of the oldest and most venerated deities in the Roman pantheon. Originally, Saturn is deeply related to Cronus, the Titan of Greek mythology. However, while Cronus is primarily known as a shadowy figure who devours his own children, Saturn takes on a more ambiguous and complex role in Rome. He is a god of abundance, balance, and agricultural work, but also a being marked by tragedy and change. As the god of time, Saturn symbolizes the inevitable cycle of birth, growth, and decline. He has the power to sow and reap, both literally and figuratively. This control over the cycles of life makes him a pivotal god for human survival and progress in early civilizations. Over the centuries, Saturn evolved in the Roman imagination, being perceived not only as a god, but as an ancestral king. Let us now delve into his reign and the splendor of the Golden Age. The Golden Age, according to Roman mythology, was an idyllic period in which humanity lived in complete harmony. Under the reign of Saturn, there was no war, inequality, or hardship. The earth offered its fruits spontaneously, without the need for the arduous agricultural work that would come in later ages. This perfect time symbolizes the inherent connection humans had with nature. Saturn reigned with justice and wisdom, presenting a model of leadership based on equity. His rule was free of greed or ambition, instead, a deep respect for natural cycles and the collective prevailed. The Romans saw the Golden Age as a lost paradise, a deep nostalgia for a world where gods and humans coexisted in peace. However, this period would not last forever. Like every cycle of time, its decline came. The fall of Saturn is a central point in his myth and in the transition from an age of perfection to one of conflict and hard work. According to legend, Saturn was overthrown by his own son, Jupiter, known as the king of the gods in Roman mythology. This betrayal is a repetition of the problematic family cycles in mythology. Just as Saturn seized power from his father Salus, so too would he lose the throne to his offspring. After being dethroned, Saturn did not disappear. He took refuge in Italy, then known as Latium, where he found a new purpose. There, far from being just a fallen god, he became a teacher of humanity, teaching the inhabitants the arts of agriculture and the norms of civilization. It is at this point that the legend of Saturn as a benevolent protector of the people is born. Symbolizing the inevitable cycle of change, Saturn's exile narrates the transformation from a golden age to a humanity that matures through struggle, effort, and innovation. In Italy, the figure of Saturn was deeply intertwined with Roman cultural identity. His legacy is believed to have given its name to the region of Saturnia, further connecting it to the roots of Rome. Under his guidance, humans ceased to be nomads and learned to cultivate the land, marking a key historical transition towards social and economic stability. Furthermore, the cultural impact of the Saturn myth was celebrated annually during the Saturnalia, one of the most important festivals in Rome. This event was a kind of symbolic return to the Golden Age, For a few days, normal social norms were suspended, slaves were treated as equals to their masters, and abundance and joy were celebrated in community. This festival not only honored Saturn as a god, but also kept alive the ideal of equality and prosperity that defined his utopian reign. The myth also significantly influenced Roman art and literature, and her figure continued to resonate in later centuries. The myth of Saturn and the Golden Age touches on themes that are universal and timeless, which explains its enduring relevance. First, there is nostalgia for a perfect past. The Golden Age represents a lost paradise, but also a possibility of balance that humanity always seeks to recover. This concept is found in numerous mythologies and cultures, suggesting that our search for harmony is inherent to the human condition. Secondly, sacrifice and renewal are deeply intertwined with the story of Saturn. His fall not only symbolizes loss, but also the transition to a new beginning. This cycle of destruction and reconstruction is repeated not only in myths, but also in history and nature. Finally, Saturn teaches us about leadership. His reign is a model of justice and abundance, while his exile shows how change can be a catalyst for progress. These lessons remain relevant today, both in our relationship to governance and in our personal interactions. The cultural impact of the Saturn myth cannot be overstated. Roman artists frequently depicted Saturn in mosaics, sculptures and coins, often linked with abundance and harvest. Similarly, writers such as Virgil and Ovid explored his story in their works, showing how deeply it resonated with the Roman imagination. Even beyond Rome, the figure of Saturn continued to influence Western culture. In the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, he was reinterpreted as a symbol of time and its inexorable effect on humans. Today, his legacy lives on in astrology, where Saturn is associated with discipline, responsibility, and cycles of challenge and growth. This multifaceted god remains a source of inspiration, showing how ancient myths can remain relevant in a modern context. The question that inevitably arises is, can we learn anything from the Golden Age? This myth offers an aspirational vision of a world where humanity lives in harmony with nature, based on equity and cooperation. In our modern age, we face challenges similar to those the Romans likely contemplated when imagining this lost paradise. From fighting inequality to the environmental crisis, the myth inspires us to reflect on how we can work together to build our own Golden Age. Is this Golden Age an impossible dream or a realistic goal toward which we can strive? Perhaps, by looking back and drawing wisdom from these ancient tales, we can find solutions for our connectivity with the environment and with each other. The myth of Saturn and the Golden Age is not just a story of times gone by, but a gateway to understanding universal human values. It reminds us of the importance of justice, innovation, and connection with nature. Saturn, the god of time, is also a master of cycles. He teaches us that even in loss there is renewal, that even a fall can be the beginning of something new. The Golden Age, on the other hand, challenges us to imagine a better world, not as something unattainable, but as a possibility to be built. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of Roman mythology. May these stories continue to inspire us and bring us closer to the golden ideal that we all carry within us.